And welcome back. Comedian Christopher Titus is in town to perform his stand-up at the Blue Room Comedy Club all weekend long, and he joins us now here on Ozarks Live. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I am fine. We did a show last night, Standing Ovation, which I was excited about. I did Alabama last week, and that was fine. It was Huntsville, which is rednecks and rocket scientists, so it's an interesting
It's a good combo.
So wait,
yeah.
do you have like a nickname like that for Springfield?
Not yet. We'll see what happens.
You
Last week we had a guy that looked like Wolverine, who heckled a little bit my oopening act, and that got weird for a second. But the knives didn't come out, so it was all right. It was all right. And this show's called Carrying Monsters. It's about it's the darkest stories I couldn't tell. The stories I'm going to tell on this show are stories that for many years I couldn't tell, and then a bunch of people who the stories are about died. So now there's stories I shouldn't tell.
Okay.
But now I don't have to go to court.
Okay, are these stories that got you into comedy to begin with?
My first special, Norman Rockwell's Bleeding, was about my family, but I was still kind of new to it. I'd done comedy for 12 years before that, and Norman Rockwell was the first time I really told the true stories. I just remember the girlfriend that used to randomly punch me in the face. Like, we'd be arguing and she'd just go, "Bap!" and hit me in the face. And I remember going, "You're not fair." So,
you can't hit back.
You can't hit back. Well, well, the joke I did in that show was that men should never, ever, ever hit a woman until the 5th time you got punched in the face.
Oh my God. Well. All right.
No, it was a joke, people.
It was a joke.
Just a joke.
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
She was brutal, but so this shows the darkest stories I've ever had. I took it to the Fringe Festival in Scotland, and the Scots would laugh, and then they would go, "Jesus!" They kept, "Oh my gosh!" So that was fun.
They had to really process it. Yeah.
Well, if you've had a really good, happy family life and your mom and dad are perfect, probably shouldn't come to this show.
Okay.
Go see a juggler.
Go see a juggler. Oh my.
But if you've had a life where you're like, my mom was manic depressive schizophrenic. She was in mental institutions, and my mom was crazy. I don't mean my mom's crazy. I mean, we, the jury, find the defendant crazy. These are jokes. See, you guys, it's funny, when I do these shows, everybody, you guys go, "Oh my gosh." Like, she's fine. I'm fine with it. Doing comedy about it has really helped me get through it.
Okay.
Therapeutic?
Yeah, to a point where, what happens is the first time I did the bit about my mom in the mental hospital, because I went and visited her in the mental hospital when I was little. My dad would sit me with her, and so, like, when I was in kindergarten, gluing macaroni to paper plates. My mom was in therapy, gluing macaroni to paper plates.
No, that's interesting though.
The camera guys are laughing, and you're like, "Oh,
no, but it's interesting because
but
I'm thinking too seriously though. I mean, you touched on this for a second, but like seriously, with the trauma that we go through, we all have different coping mechanisms.
Yeah,
and if that's yours, then it is what it is.
Clearly, it's done well for you.
Well, yeah. I've made a lot of money off my pain. Yes, I have. Yes, I bought a house with the evil that was done to me as a child.
There you go. You turned it into a success.
But here's so the first time I wrote that bit about my mom's mental illness, and I wrote it. I'd done comedy for a while, but I started to hate comedy because I was just talking about just lame stuff. And I think any artist, when you get to a point, I want to do something that excites me, right? So I wrote this bit about my mom's mental illness, and I remember being on stage, and I started to tear up on stage. I started to go, and the audience didn't know what was going on because the jokes were funny, but I was like,
what is he doing?
And then about 10 shows in, they became jokes, and I realized that, I had kind of found the absurdity of my life, and that made it okay.
Okay.
And I have thousands of letters from that special where people are like, "Dude, thank you. My life was messed up. My parents were horrible. I laughed my butt off at this special. Thank you for doing it."
That's really therapeutic.
That's I call that the bonus. Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of specials, I know you were telling us before this show, you've got one currently on YouTube and one coming up later this winter. So tell us about those.
So here's what happened. I've done 10 specials. So I did 6 on Comedy Central, and I owned them all. I've produced the last 6 myself with my company. But what I did was, over COVID, I put them all up for free because we were all locked down.
Sure.
Yes.
So I think there's 9 specials currently right now for free on YouTube. I already got paid from the networks, and so I put them up. And then the new one I did, the one I just released a few months ago, was called Zero Side Effects, and it's about we just went through this horrible nightmare of COVID. It's all about that and the craziness of the country. Okay. This show, by the way, has zero politics in it, so people relax. Whatever you believe, it's I love you all. We're all Americans first, right? We're all Americans first.
There you go.
So yeah, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow night. Carrying Monsters, standing ovation last night. So, and it wasn't a leaving ovation. They actually did this. It kept going.
And they
didn't just go like this. I'm out.
That means it's good, but you have to come back.
Yes. Okay, so people want to keep up with you, Christopher. How can they do that?
Go to ChristopherTitus.com. If you want to go to my YouTube channel, go to Christopher Titus TV on YouTube. By the way, we did 2 episodes. If you like my show Titus from way back in the day.
About 20 years ago?
Yeah. Thanks for you were 4.
No, I wasn't that.
So go to, we did 2 episodes during COVID. I got Stacy Keach, because I have a soundstage in LA. We got Stacy Keach and all the cast together. I wrote a whole new episode, and we ended up doing 2 episodes to wrap up the whole series.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it looks just like
later.
the show. It's great. So that's also on my YouTube channel. And then and I'll see you guys tonight at the show.
Okay, Christopher, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. Have fun at the
Thanks. See,
Blue
I only scared you guys a little bit.
You
would not believe the lecture I got about what I couldn't say.
Tell that part.